Yo, what's up, guys? Been a while. I've been posted for a month. So let's begin. Where have I been? What I've been up to? What I'm currently doing? And most importantly, why I've been MIA for the last 1 month. And thank you for everybody who's been trying to Skype call me. Even though I didn't pick up your calls for the paper call, it gave me like little nudges that I had started something which began to get some traction in YouTube. That felt good. All right. So before I get into all these, let me just take a step back and reiterate what was the point of this channel to start with. So the point of this channel was for me to document my two biggest directions in life, right? One is trying to make my way to financial freedom, and another one is at the same time try to get enlightened. That's really like sums up my life directions right now, where I want to go. I'm gonna try to go to a place where I have financial freedom, in that direction, while at the same time try to get enlightened. All right, and these two things I wanted to document it, how my journey is, and I want to make it as raw as possible, the naked truth of somebody, the reality of somebody, what they can face when they're trying to start a business like this, when they're trying to go through what it takes to be a spiritual person in that sense, right? Simultaneously. And I've sort of failed that in the last month. And that is because when shit really hit the fan, I wasn't able to document it. I wasn't able to put it out on video. One, because of how I felt, how horrible it felt when the things I'm about to share right now. And also because I thought it would be too negative. Maybe people get discouraged from trying these methods to make sales, to whatever it is, right? And I even thought twice about making this video if I should share what the events I'm about to share, because like I said, it just I wasn't sure that if it would be the best for this channel. But I realize now that it would be a disservice if I was to hide anything from you guys or anybody who watches this in the future, because this is the truth. This is what I've been facing, okay? So even if it sounds ugly and disturbing, bear in mind that you may have, not to the same degree, but similar levels of stress and discomfort. And I hope me sharing this, at least for one person, could, when they're about to throw in the towel, it gives them the motivation, energy, inspiration to keep moving forward. Having that said, let's begin. So the last video I made was for paper call, right? Other than the one I just made this morning about, for my country, was for paper call. Still an amazing underutilized way to get calls from homeowners for small business, especially, right? And basically, long story short, what started to happen is I started to really get in the research and started doing well, but then I realized something that wasn't working out. I was getting clicks, but no calls. All right. Now this is normal because Google charges you for the click, but the people still have to dial one more time, press it to get the call. But it was more than that. I was getting clicks way more than I was even getting calls, which doesn't make sense. Why would everybody be clicking it and not making the call? And other thing is, people are calling from the area, like I'll give you an example, in Queens, but then they were asking for roofing in Jamaica, which is the country. Now there's a place in Queens called Jamaica, but that's not what they're asking for. So after getting into and talking to a mentor of mine, he told me that if you're using just broad keywords, the ones that are typically gonna get the most calls, you're gonna be falling into a radar of a few services that are out there to take you out. I was like, what do you mean? There are services out there for pay-per call, pay-per-click, which do fraud clicks and fraud calls. They make you charge money, they make you waste your money, so you get afraid that the methods don't work, so you move away, and they can monopolize in that niche, in that area. So that was that. And so I started doing a lot more research, and I started to find a little bit, other keywords to overtake that and not go for the broad, like long tail keywords where you don't fall in the radar. So I was going that direction, but then a series of personal events happened which really took me for a spin. So what happened was, me and my girlfriend broke up, right? So it's like I said, it's very personal things that I'm about to share. And me and my girlfriend broke up. We have been dating for a while. It was nothing crazy, and we just decided that we really need to do our own thing and find ourselves, because we're kind of just scrambling about, not really growing from each other's company anymore. So take some space at least for some time. So she moved out, we broke up, and that was that, right? But then what happened was, my parents back home are like decided to get a divorce. Well, it wasn't like a mutual decision. Basically, my dad just turned off his phone and blocked my brothers, my younger brothers and stuff like that, my mom, and he moved in his house in Thailand, because I live in Bangladesh. He moved in his house in Thailand with his new girlfriend. She's 28 years old. He's about to hit 60. So he's having fun with that. No judgment, not much pressure, doesn't affect me almost at all. But what does affect me is how much trouble my mom has faced, still facing and was facing due to this, right? She got into extreme depression. For the first time in my life, I've seen my mom actually taking sleeping medication and depression medication, and it was just awful. So I really had to deal with that, right? Because that's when you really realize that family matters the most, right? Usually I'm here doing my own thing, but I don't really realize how much they matter to me, or how anything can be not worth anything if my family is not healthy, physically and mentally healthy, right? So I decided to do one of the only things I can do, where I got 2 books from the library in the lines of verbal abuse and how to get over emotional distress, and I talked to my mom a couple hours a day the last few weeks, just embedding these ideas that I've been learning and just throwing these perspectives at her over and over and over again, right? And they have been working. It's been helping her. My whole approach was to just throw the same kinds of things at her enough time so she really understands. Because if you know people from my side of the world, they have this immense crooked idea that getting a divorce is some kind of wicked, evil thing because you are not deserving or something like that. Like, it's, if you're out with a husband and you get divorced and he leaves you, it's like the woman basically feels like they're I don't even know, they're like an outcast. Like, it's like almost as the similar level, how do you say, it's as bad as you like eating babies. I don't know what to say. It's just so bad. It doesn't make sense, right? And in the Western world, it's not like that. People get divorces all the time. They get over it and, they move on. It's not like, we outclass them and all your relatives think like you're fucking weird or whatever. But that's how it is in my country, right? Now, my mom is not that intense with it, but it still hit her a lot harder than it should. And that was my whole thing dealing with that, right? Now, this is going on. Mind you, I'm scrambling. The business is not really working through. I'm still recovering from the PBNs, and figuring those out, which, by the way, is finally turning over, and I found a way which I'll share in the videos to come on. But wow, things really, anyways. But at that time, I'm trying to scramble here, trying to make something happen, and facing these 2 things. In the midst of this, to top it off, this is what was the cherry on top. This friend of mine, or friend, who came from Bangladesh, was in New York, and he seemingly was, what seemed to me, was in the same page as me, right? He's trying to start a service, a business, or even go towards a lifestyle that he enjoys in America, because he's not liking it in Bangladesh. So I really took him under my wing. He was staying at my place. I was like, all right, man, even if we don't do this together or whatever, we can do it side by side and help each other out, whatever, and make stuff happen. Long story short, he ended up completely just robbing me. He stole the money I had for rent and just blocked me off everything and ran away, which completely threw me off, because I was like, I never expected something like that from a person like that. He's a it's not like I have known him since I was a kid, but I know him pretty well enough that I thought that he had enough respect or dignity to not do something like that, right? And I was very surprised. So it goes to say that it's not the wealth you have, because this kid is super rich. He's 0.0001%, one of the most richest people in my country. You know, they have like close to $100 million business, I'm pretty sure, if not more. And but he's just reckless, you know, like he's a very smart kid, very capable, but just super reckless in his lifestyle. Just goes and anything that comes to a part of him, he steals cars, does very heavy drugs, been hospitalized for heroin, all kinds of stuff, which I don't judge him for. But when he did this to somebody who's trying to help him out, really, I had to take a step back and realize, like, you know, there's a mass difference between, let's say, me and him, okay? Regardless if we have taken in similar activities in drug use and things like that. So, what do I have to say from all this? What I have to say is, you're really gonna have to be the type of person who has perspectives which are not just different, but completely sometimes opposite than people around you if you want to make it as an entrepreneur. And let me see how to put this. Wherever you are right now, whatever you're doing, there's certain things you are working towards because you have certain expectations and outcomes to come out of it. All right? I am making sales call because I know it's going to get me this and I'm going to get there somewhere. I am doing this. I go to the gym. When you're in this and shit's really hitting the fan, especially, you must let go of any idea that doesn't empower you. Any prediction, even if it's logical, even if it's a mathematical equation that results in equaling you to feel not discomfort, but feel disempowered, if that's a word. It makes you feel down. You must let it go. Right? Only believe in predictions that's going to empower you, because if you don't, you're going to fall out of place. Right? Have perspectives that are quite different from other people, and don't be afraid to hold on to it, even if it sounds chaotic, right? Even if it sounds quite different, right? So many people are telling me that, hey, you should, why the hell are you even doing this? Like, dude, just get a normal this, just do that. This is insane how you're living. Well, a few people are telling me, because thank God I had a few close friends who are still keeping me sane, but if you know why you're doing what you're doing, hold on to your perspectives, because they will be, at times, the only thing you have, right? Other words for perspective is your home between your two ears. That feels good. You're going to be able to come, speaking of home, you're going to need a stabilized body, mental cage, mental physiology, whatever you want to call it. You're going to need a stabilized system of mind and body to get through this. I'm trying to keep it as literal as possible, because I can talk all wishy-washy and all these great things, which would all make sense, which I feel more than, like, I feel that, I've gone through more than enough to speak of, but I'm still trying to keep it very literal, right? To go through so much shit, any one of these things would make an average person feel impact, no matter who you are. Girlfriend breaking up, parents getting a divorce, your business sinking, trusted friends stealing from you. When you're having 4 or 5 of this shit going on at the same time, trust me, you're going to have to be a different kind of human being to be able to take it all and still stay at the eye of the storm. Meditation is a must. I was meditating 4 times a day. I wasn't even scheduling it, meditating in the morning or night. I just got into meditation whenever I felt like it, averaging 3-4 times a day. And I'm still doing it about 3 times a day, longer, 20-25 minutes each at a time. It's the only way I felt that I could still grip it all together and do the things that matter. And at that time, what mattered was basically all health, right? I was still making sure I was just going for calm walks, going and jogging in the gym, being good to myself, juicing, eating right. All the things that have to happen for me to really be on top of my game in health and mind and body, I was doing it extra. And I really calmed it down to what I had to do to grow my business, right? I stopped making sales calls and all that. I was just strategizing, organizing certain things, working about 3 to 4 hours a day, I would say. And another thing I realized while doing this was that you don't have to work so long. I realized that on days that I was feeling well doing this, I actually got quite a bit done, more than I was even expecting. I was doing the work so I can feel good, get my mind off things and get things organized. But then I got into the rhythm and I would get some quite a decent bit of work done, even working 4 or 5 hours a day, which I thought before you'd have to be the type of person who would have to grind it out for 10 hours, otherwise you're not an entrepreneur. That kind of stuff, but it's not true. And I would recommend it. If you're starting out, even try to increase the focus and value of each hour that you work, instead of trying to just make yourself slave over and grind 8, 10, 12 hours. Of course, longer hours is always going to be better math, but first try to learn to prioritize and be really focused in those hours, and then you can elongate it. Lastly, guys, just whatever it takes. It's gonna sound really cheesy, but stay damn true to yourself, because it's the only thing you might have in the end. Friends will leave you. It sucks, but friends will leave you when shit hits the fan. A lot of the friends who support you and talk to you and stand beside you is great to have, because when things are going well. But when shit really hits the fan, they are going to disappear. It's just the way it is. It's not that they're bad, it's not that they're fault, it's just that maybe they're not going through the same level of stress to even understand what you're going through. So they can't take that kind of negativity you're going through, so they stop replying. It's just the way it is, and you will have to stick with that. The good part is it filters out from the number of people you have and hones it down to a very few, which truly will stick and